last week on the podcast by myself, not with you. I ended the show. I'm going to read you a quote that I said at the end of the show last week. Are you ready for this?
Oh, no.
I said, quote, "No use in planning any content for next week because the wrestling world is probably going to flip on its head." Sounds like prophecy to me. I think I nailed it because, ladies and gentlemen, Jordynne Grace and Ethan Page showed up on NXT last week. What on earth, Andy, happened?
I don't know which one's more surprising, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know. And the fact that, like, AEW also almost got name dropped on NXT TV
was hilarious.
By Vic Joseph.
It was so good.
I don't know. It's wild. It's wild, this working relationship between WWE. Like, we've seen it before in the past with the Rumble spots, but not like on a weekly TV show.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It blew my mind, and I didn't even see it. You texted me.
Yeah.
And you're like, Jordynne Grace and Ethan Page, and I was like, what are you talking about? And went and looked, and I was like, oh, on NXT, what in the world happened? Made me want to watch NXT, which is like hadn't happened since they switched over.
Yep.
And so now I'm like, I got to watch NXT
and
this week.
Me too, because I said a couple of weeks ago, I was like, if I need to add any more wrestling content to my plate, it's got to be TNA.
Yeah.
Well, TNA just showed up on NXT. I know Ethan Page is AEW, and I get that. He was in TNA in the past.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Jordynne Grace first. She appeared at the Rumble.
Yeah.
Shocked everybody. Yep. She's going to show up this coming Tuesday. So as you're listening to this on Tuesday night, wrestling on NXT, and then at Battleground against Roxanne Perez.
Yep.
Apparently, Jordynne Grace said on Busted Open last week, Roxanne Perez did not know until she walked out who she was facing.
Yeah.
So wild.
That is very wild that was the case. It makes me think that this was last minute in some ways.
Yeah.
Of getting it done. I think this was probably part of the plan, but like last minute getting it negotiated and everything else. My thing is, like, my question is, I know TNA is getting representation on NXT. I would be shocked though if they don't get a WWE person on their show.
Oh, they will at some point.
Which I don't know who that would be, which is very fascinating.
Do you think it's limited to NXT, or does it need to be?
There's so many guys on the main roster though that are from TNA.
Right, that's true.
I mean, like AJ Styles, but I don't know if he would show up. It'd be wild if Drew McIntyre showed up because, I mean, that's a good way to get away from Punk and kind of go that route.
You know who would be really interesting, and let's hit on this real quick. Is this guy on your YouTube screen right now? Is Chad Gable, whose contract is about to run out, apparently this week. Yeah. Wouldn't it be interesting for him to go to TNA? Couldn't you see like a new 2.0 Alpha, or not Alpha Academy, American Alpha with Josh Alexander?
Oh,
and Chad Gable.
Yeah, like, listen, if we ever get the WWE TNA pay-per-view like against each other, and we don't do Josh Alexander versus Chad Gable, there's a problem. Yeah. There's a really big problem there. The only thing is, I think after tonight's episode of Raw, I think it indicates kind of clearly he's re-signed.
Sure.
Because he's fighting Sammy at Clash.
Well, even at that, he could still show up though.
Right. Yeah.
You know, we're talking about people showing up, not necessarily staying.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would be wild.
Another one that would be really cool is Ricochet.
Yeah. Listen, he's not doing anything right now. As right now, if you got like a Randy Orton to pop up, not even wrestle, but just to pop up on TNA TV, would be wild. On the flip side, we need Joe Hendry on a WWE TV show.
Listen,
because you talk about getting over. You hear that music, he will get over with the WWE crowd.
Yeah,
like instantly, he would get over with the WWE crowd. And I think this also proves like Jordynne Grace is in TNA now. And they better hold on to her because I feel like when her contract runs out, she is WWE bound.
Yeah, isn't the word on the street like she's making six figures for these 3 appearances or something stupid like that? Like, WWE is proving that they will shell out the money for her.
And they see big things in her.
Yeah.
Because, like, Mickie James, they asked for her for the Rumble, but they didn't really ask for her to come back for anything else. They want Jordynne Grace for these spots.
Yep.
So I think she has a very, very big future down the line in WWE.
All that to say, we mentioned Jordynne Grace showing up. This opens the door for a Dolph Ziggler to come back.
Yeah.
A Brian Myers to come back. Heath Slater to come back.
Cardona
to come back. So many people who have been here before to come back. And you mentioned the Joe Hendrys, the new people to come in. Matt Hardy even.
Yeah.
Matt Hardy could come back.
Yep. I mean, Chelsea Green could be another great choice to go to TNA, being upset with management. And she goes to TNA, and then they're like, we don't want you here either.
Right.
Like, I think something like that would be really, really funny with her.
This has opened the door to so many possibilities. So I'm going to put you in an unfair spot being the indie guy.
Oh, gosh.
You ready?
Yeah.
Again, this is one thing we didn't prep because I didn't know I was going to ask you this
until right now.
Until right this minute.
That's fine.
So here we go. Forbidden door is the term.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is there more exciting possibilities for the Forbidden Door of WWE and TNA or AEW and New Japan? Now, it's a little bit unfair because we've already seen AEW New Japan.
Right.
So we know what it could be or
Right.
some of the things that we've seen. But right in this moment, what's more intriguing to you?
Right now, it's still AEW New Japan because it's all the heavy hitter guys working together. If we see a WWE main roster thing with TNA, I think that would be just as interesting. But like nothing against NXT, it's developmental for a reason. But like Cody Rhodes has a lot of history in TNA.
Yep,
it'd be wild if he showed up. It's no shot. I mean, right now Jon Moxley is the IWGP champion, so he's on AEW TV weekly.
Right,
but it would like when Okada was champ or Tanahashi was champ, it would have been a shock, but not a surprise to see them on AEW. But if like I think Moose is it right now. If Moose just rocked up on a Raw, that's wild. Like that's absolutely wild. So I think if we could get to that point, it would be intense. But right now, I'm probably going to say AEW New Japan just because it's all the A stars going against each other.
I'm going to ask you another question to go down a rabbit hole. Again, not planned until right this minute. A lot has been made of Scott D'Amore being let go from TNA.
Yeah.
I know we had Jordynne Grace at the Rumble.
Yeah.
And I know we had Mickie James 2 years ago in the Rumble. So Scott D'Amore clearly had some to do with this.
Right.
But do you think this is more aggressive of a working relationship now that he's gone? Or do you think this got started with him and TNA? I just wonder, like, if it got started with him and TNA was hesitant about it, they would have pulled the plug already.
Right.
So I just wonder if he held it back at all.
I think this is more WWE side than
I was going to say,
TNA
is this
side.
more just a perfect storm of Triple H recognizing talent and getting stuff done?
Because, I mean, this time last year, Vince still had his hands in the mix.
Well, Vince still had it when Mickie James came.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that is probably playing more of a part in it. Now, like Triple H and Shawn Michaels know how important a working relationship is with other companies.
Yep.
And so I think that it's probably more on the WWE side than it is the TNA side because WWE has more to lose out of this than TNA does.
Right.
Because TNA is getting put on a massive weekly TV.
And like you just mentioned, what WWE stars are going to show up? Because none have yet.
Yeah.
So, when does that happen or does it happen?
Right. I'm still holding out, though, for a Worlds Collide doing TNA versus NXT. I think that would be awesome.
It makes the most sense. Let's talk about the other surprise. Let's talk about Ethan Page. There was rumors about his contract.
Yeah.
Did it run out? Did it not run out? He did a video the day after this appearance saying he was a free agent.
Yeah.
People have said that he signed. He had one of the hottest selling action figures last week. He did a promo about that. And then just lots of questions. Him really playing the system and knowing what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then making a huge impact attacking Trick Williams.
I can't believe it. Like, I thought for a while there in AEW, he was one of those guys that was probably going to be in AEW for a long time, and then he just kind of got lost in the shuffle.
Because he was the surprise for a ladder match at 2020 Revolution.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he was a surprise.
So but I think he just kind of got lost in the shuffle. I think we're going to see another one here pretty soon. Jump ship. I think Ricky Starks is WWE bound because he's such a Cody guy.
Yeah,
that I think it's just he's 1 foot out the door.
Sure.
But I think Ethan Page and NXT is a perfect fit.
It is,
and I think if he'll develop into a potential really big main roster guy.
Yep.
And so I'm very because he's got the charisma, He's got the promo skill already, just learning to work the WWE style, which he kind of already fits that mold. And him going right after Trick Williams, I think, is an indication that he probably won't be in NXT for long. He probably gets called up kind of quick.
Interesting.
So I'm very excited about that. I think this is a perfect fit for him right now. In about 5 years, will he still be in WWE? I don't know. But I thought once the contract stuff ran out, I didn't think he was staying in AEW. I thought he was TNA bound.
Sure. But
jumping to NXT is a pretty smart choice for him right now, I think.
And with this working relationship, he may be.
Right.
TNA bound.
Yeah.
He may just do WWE. We see NXT bring people in for one-offs all the time. Yeah. Maybe this is just a one-off. Maybe he goes to TNA after this. Maybe he is telling the truth that he doesn't have a contract with NXT,
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? But I love it.
I tell you what, with as big as this hit, as shocking as this one was, like, WWE would be dumb not to take a second look at signing Ethan Page if they haven't already.
Yeah, I think they have.
I think so too.
But if they haven't already, they need to. I think he's a must get for them right now.
How is it? And you said you knew nothing about this,
and
I didn't know anything about it either until I got texted about it because I wasn't watching either. How is it that NXT can keep these things a surprise? And main rosters or AEWs can't?
Less eyes. I don't know. Like I think the bigger the product, the harder it is to keep things secret.
Yeah.
I mean, but the last big surprise for WWE main roster was Tongaloa, and that nobody knew about that.
No.
Nobody had any idea about that. So I think we're kind of in a new era of that possibly happening. And they also were like, oh yeah, we got Jacob Fatu. Don't look over here in this corner while we bring this guy in first.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think it's partly because, just a smaller audience and not as many people are paying attention to it. So you're able to kind of do these things a little bit more open than, and with like a WWE, like a Raw or a SmackDown or a WWE PLE or whatever the case is, bringing somebody in, it's hard to hide those people.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of the case.
I know Shawn Michaels is running the show down there.
Yeah.
And I know he has a lot of help with Matt Bloom and some other guys. I know he's running the show, but I wonder how much is he running the show and how much of this is like a collaboration with Triple H and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, Triple H still has to have a massive interest in NXT because that was his baby.
Sure.
So I think having Shawn there is basically just having Triple H there.
Sure.
At the same time. So they have to be working together. And
I wonder, is Jordynne Grace and Ethan Page, was that Shawn's call?
It's probably a company's call.
Is that I
mean, if you look at the if you're talking to TNA and they say you can have one person on their roster to work a match, the first thing that pops off is Jordynne Grace.
Sure.
Like, I'm not going, like, Moose, maybe, yeah. Joe Hendry for the likes, yeah.
Moose versus Trick Williams.
Oh, that's the main event of the Worlds Collide if they do that.
Buddy.
Like, that's money in the making. I think you could also do Andre Chase versus Joe Hendry. I think that'd be wildly entertaining.
Yeah.
Also makes me wish Cameron Grimes was still there because Cameron Grimes and Joe Hendry together would be hilarious.
I thought about that.
Or R-Truth. Put R-Truth down in NXT for a while and have R-Truth and Joe Hendry interact together would just... It prints money. I don't know why you wouldn't do that.
I think Logan Paul and Joe Hendry would be fun together.
I think LA Knight. I think a tag team of LA Knight and Joe Hendry versus Logan Paul and whoever.
I don't think you can put them against each other because I feel like LA Knight would just.
Yeah. No, you have to do Knight and Hendry together.
Man, all of that to say, no matter who is really pulling the strings or calling the shots or whatever, it's working. And it's a good time to be keeping up with NXT. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
It's also a good time to be keeping up with us on our YouTube channel. If you haven't done it already, hit that subscribe button, please. It does everything for us. It helps the visibility of the show. It doesn't cost you a thing. All it's going to do is send you a notification every time we upload a video. Doesn't cost you anything. That's it. All right. So if you're enjoying our content, why would you not want a notification every time we upload a video? It just makes the most sense. So, Subscribe to us. We would appreciate it. Like the video. It helps the algorithm of the show. I can't explain it. I just know that you should like it. Leave a comment on the YouTube video as well. That helps us very much. Viewership is growing. Subscribers are growing. We just appreciate your all support so much on the YouTube channel. Keep it up. Tell a friend. Again, if you're here at our show for your wrestling fix, I guarantee you've got people that watch wrestling as well that need their wrestling fix through Squared Circle Radio as well. So make sure that you do that.